What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we are here with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And today we got a coin flip deck for February 2025. As you know, as you might know, we've done like a Duke Devlin dice kind of deck. So I figured we'd kind of do the counterpart, which is, coin flippy kind of stuff. Of course, there are other gambly cards, which we have a few in here, but mostly coin flip. So, of course, we'll head straight into it. An absolute kind of classic archetype of coin flip stuff. Barrel dragons is what we've kind of focused on. But, of course, there's lots of different aspects to it, and different coin flip decks in general, and different pieces. But we start with 3 Desperado Barrel Dragon. Why? Just because he's such a boss. It is, if a face-up dark machine monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect. Oops, sorry, let me steady him out here. You can special summon this card from your hand, and once per turn during the battle phase quick effect, you can toss a coin 3 times and destroy face-up on monsters on the field up to the number of heads. Then if the results was 3 heads, draw 1 card. This card cannot attack the turn it activated this effect. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 7 or lower monster that has a coin tossing effect from your deck to your hand. So, of course, lots of potential with just coin tossing monsters in general, but there's lots of extra sauce in terms of barrel dragons and other cards that work well with him. Next, we have 3 twin barrel dragon. Like I said, lots of barrel dragon-y sauce, but lots of room for more. This is your level 4, your easy summon. And what it is when this card is summoned, target 1 card on the field, or target 1 card your opponent controls, and toss a coin twice. If the result is 2 heads, destroy it. So he's not that big of a boss, but he is a dark machine, and he fits in with the coin tossy sauce. So what you'd kind of potentially want to happen is you'd want a Desperado in your hand, bring this guy out, and then at some point, maybe him get destroyed just by you summoning him or popping off his effect. And maybe them, hitting it with a hand trap or doing something. And then you go into Desperado and do more. But there's lots of ways to kind of self-combo because it is just destroyed by card effect, not your opponent's. Bring them into a bit more cohesive pile. Next, we have 1 Blowback Dragon. This can be taken up. I only have 1 at the moment. I'd maybe recommend 2, possibly more. But it is once per turn, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, toss a coin 3 times, and destroy that target if at least 2 of the results are heads. So he's basically a slightly beefed up twin barrel dragon in terms of just the chance of getting that effect off and damage. Next, of course, the classic barrel dragon. I swear I had more copies of this, I just don't know where they are at the moment. But he is your OG coin flipper barrel dragon, and it is once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, toss a coin 3 times, and destroy it if 2 out of the 3 are heads. So, similar sauce to the rest, but a little bit harder to activate, but of course he has more attack on him. So decent stuff. Moving away from the kind of barrel dragon-y stuff, but of course still remaining in the coin flip area, is the Gambler of Legend. Now, he isn't a machine, but he is a dark monster, so you can work in some of that stuff and maybe make him into a machine with, DNA surgery or stuff like that. But he does fit into other plays, which is, pretty decent. And of course, he is, once per turn, you can toss a coin 3 times and apply the appropriate effect. If 3 heads, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. 2 heads, discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. And 1 head, destroy 1 card you control. 1 head, sorry. And 3 tails, discard your entire hand. So, of course, there is a lot of gamble to the deck, but he is a nice piece, and like I said, he's dark and level 4, so he's easier to bring out. He's got more sauce, and he's just a classic. To pay homage to him, since he is kind of a retrain of the Sand Gambler, which is basically a terrible card, but I figured we'd throw him in just for the sauce. And it is, toss a coin 3 times. If all 3 results are heads, destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. And if all 3 results are tails, destroy all monsters on your side of the field. This effect can only be used once per turn during your main phase. So, obviously, yeah, you can see the resemblance. Maybe they're brothers, or maybe he evolved into the Gambler of Legend after he was messing around in the sand a bit. I don't know. But, you know, similar sauce. But obviously the Gambler of Legend's a bit better and works a bit easier with our strats. Next, we got 2 Time Wizard. An absolute boss classic, you know, once per turn, toss a coin and call it. If you call it right, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If you call it wrong, destroy as many monsters as you control as possible. And if you do, take damage equal to half the total attack of those destroyed monsters will face up on the field. So, you know, obviously a huge gamble with the damage, but it's Time Wizard, you know, you had to have him in there. Absolute classic. And there's more ways we could kind of work him into the strats or work strats around him, but he obviously could be taken out in the future. A one-off here I do have with a coin flip effect that I thought was real cool is Couple of Aces. I believe I got this from like a dollar store pack. I can't remember, but it is if this card is in your hand, you can toss a coin, and if the result is heads, special summon this card to your field, or if the result is tails, special summon this card to your opponent's field, and you can only use the effect of Couple Aces once per turn. Once per turn, if this card is special summoned by its effect, draw 2 cards. So it's obviously Cup of Aces with a little bit of extra strings attached, I guess. But it could be kind of what you want to work with. It could be not. Who knows? But it is a gambly coin flip card, and I thought it fit well in the deck. Next, we are trying out some sauce, which is the Summoner Monk. Our only as far as I believe, our only non-coin flip monster in the deck. And this is just basically so we can go into a coin flip monster from our deck. Obviously, you won't be able to attack, but if it's something, maybe we're just going in for a hard clear, you know, we got Gambler of Legend or something like that. You know, there's a couple level 4s, or just strictly maybe the Blowback Dragon, I believe. No, not the Twin Barrel Dragon. You could go Twin Barrel Dragon, and then there's some extra sauce you could go into with the deck. Maybe just destroy your own Twin Barrel to get a Desperado out. Lots of ideas there. Moving to the spells, we got 3 Arcana Reading. Quite a little saucy card, but quite the gamble indeed. It is toss a coin and apply this effect. If light barriers on your in your field zone, you can choose the effect instead, which we don't have any in the deck, but obviously you could if you wanted to. Heads, add 1 card from your deck to your hand that has a coin toss effect. Pretty much anyone. But of course, you know, there's also spells and traps. But tails, your opponent adds 1 card from their deck to their hand, and you can banish this card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves, and normal summon 1 Arcana Force monster. We don't have any of them in the deck at the moment, but in the future, possibly. But I was thinking of more just making a strictly Arcana-based deck, since they have a lot more sauce to kind of focus around compared to, you know, like Barrel Dragon and stuff. Next, we threw in 2 Cup of Ace, you know, heads, draw 2 cards, tails, your opponents, draw 2 cards. Could just be an extender, but it's, you know, part of the gamble, part of the fun. You know, a lot of people just go for the thrill of the gamble, and that's what we're going for on this deck. Next, we threw in 2 Dark Hole. Great non-targeting way to clear the field, and to possibly prompt your Desperado Barrel to go off and get him on the field. So maybe you could have, you know, use your Summoner Monk, say, if that's all you have, to bring out your Twin Barrel, and you have Desperado in your hand. Bam, you Dark Hole everything on the field. Maybe it's, you know, turn 2, and then you're clearing the field, activating your Desperado's effect, bringing him out. You know, lots of potential there. Next, we threw in a Lair of Darkness. Lots of dark monsters, more draw power to combine with like Cup of Aces, Couple of Aces, stuff like that. And then just a Cosmic Cyclone, some generic removal that's a little bit more surefire than a coin flip. Moving to the traps, we have the only other extra kind of Barrel Dragon sauce that is, you know, specific. Proton Blast, and this is a great little card. It is once per turn. If an activated card effect tosses coins, immediately after it resolves, apply the following effects depending on the number of heads, which obviously heads are a thing we want pretty much mostly in this deck. I think there's a couple that are choose, and then obviously you just choose heads, if that's what you're going for specifically. But if it's 1+, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. 2+, destroy 1 card in your opponent's controls. 3+, look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from their hand. And when a card effect activated that tosses a coin 2 or more times, you can banish this card from your graveyard and treat all results as heads. So a great way to go off, especially if you have one in graveyard and then one on the field. You can combo off with that, but lots of opportunities to activate this card. And of course, it isn't, as far as I can tell, it isn't once per turn, so you could have 3 of them on the field and be popping off 1500s each time, and then possibly, you have all 3 on the field, and you get 3 heads, you're discarding 3 cards from their hand. So there's lots of potential for that. Obviously, a card that I am missing is Second Coin Toss. Pretty substantial to the deck, but it is a little pricey and hard to find, so it's not in the deck yet, but leaves room for future updates with some of the other ideas I have. Next, we have 3 Lucky Chance. Some great little potential here. It is when an monster's effect that requires only 1 coin toss is activated, call heads or tails, and if you call it right, draw 1 card. So, not super active with some of the sauce we got going, but it is potential, and it is a coin flip card, so I threw it in. You never know when the sauce could be popping off, or when we find more stuff that kind of synergizes with it. Now for some of our best beefy trappage here, some of the best card in our deck is Head Judging. Continuous trap, and when a monster on the field activates its effects, you can make the activating player toss a coin and call it. If they call it right, send this card to the graveyard. If they call it wrong, negate that effect. An effect's activation, and if you do, change control of that monster to their opponent. So, it could obviously, backfire a little bit and just kind of not work, but, I mean, basically, you have the potential to steal monsters, negate effects. It's continuous. It's a quite powerful card. I do say so. Next, we got, just for some reborn power, some potentially just tributes for some of our bigger boys, to Call the Haunted. Pretty self-explanatory. A little bit of removal, or possible reactivation of maybe something that is on summon. We flip a coin, target 1 monster in the field, return that target to the hand. We got that Compulse, Some slight recycle power. Jar of Avarice. Target 5 cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, draw 1 card. Obviously, it's more about the recycle power, maybe setting up a play that we might not have in the deck with maybe a Desperado or something. Who knows? And then lastly, we threw in a Transmission Gear. It's not a coin flip card, but it is the same idea of gambling, or playing a game, a different game than Yu-Gi-Oh! So during damage calculation, if your monster battles an opponent's monster, play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent, and make the losing player banish the battling monster they control face down. Not a coin flip, but some fun little sauce that I thought kind of fit in the deck. And like I said, we don't have that second coin toss yet, but that could be a card we take out if we're going a bit more serious with it. For the extra deck, nothing too special yet. I'm not too in deep on the coin flip extra deck monsters, but we're looking into it. Like I said, we were just kind of focusing the barrel dragoning sauce and potential of what else we could bring out of just kind of coin flip monsters and tech in general. So we got 2 Utopias, and then just a Utopia array. Obviously, lots of room for potential. It is more of just kind of figuring out more what levels I want. Obviously, I'd take out like Sand Gambler if I was going a bit more hardcore and had a bit more sauce in the deck in terms of, coin flip and stuff, but I'm still working it. And if you have any ideas for the deck, of course, leave them in the comments. Always open to ideas for this deck, other decks, or just for new decks in general. If you have something you think would be a fun deck profile for me to work on, let me know in the comments. Other than that, make sure to check out my other videos. Lots of deck profiles, lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! DIY projects, openings of packs, and other, Yu-Gi-Oh! Products. Pretty hype stuff. I recommend you check it all out. Playlists for all that stuff, on the channel. Other than that, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future content's coming out. And thanks for watching. Peace.